Very chaotic scenes, Iwiwe. It was really an absolute shambles. Take us through what happened. Good morning. Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon to you too, Natasha. Well, from earlier on this morning, actually, you could see the tone within the council meeting for the special council that was called upon by the opposition parties, that there would have been a lot of disagreement, especially once they saw the agenda and that the amendments that they had asked for Tuesday in a chief whippery meeting weren't changed. So from the onset, there were already, points of order. There were already disruptions in the meeting. There were about 3 adjournments, and first we had the opposition parties actually walk out, the UDM, EFF, followed by the ANC, forcing the speaker to actually give them time to caucus, 20 minutes. That was the first time we actually left. We came back in. There was a bit of a scuffle between 2 councillors. There was a bit of howling towards the leader of the DA as well, Musi Maimane, where we found councillors sitting in the back, which are the opposition councillors, saying that, they're bumping into him on their way in, and they actually asked the speaker to ask him to leave. He didn't leave at the time, but eventually he did go out to do some interviews, but he was back inside and there weren't any problems with that. But up until now, there actually hasn't been any meeting of any sort. There was another caucus meeting that was said to be about 5 minutes, but ended up being almost 25 minutes with the chief whips of all parties, and they also invited the speaker to join them in that meeting. We're not really sure what transpired there or what's going to come out of that, because the minute they came back into council, they then told us that they were actually going to adjourn for a lunch break. So I think in terms of more details, whether it will be a normal council meeting continuing, or if these opposition parties have convinced the speaker to then continue with their special meeting as they had been calling before the break that they had, we will only be able to confirm once we come back from the lunch break. But otherwise, inside there's been a lot of singing, a lot of howling, especially from the opposition parties. And, it gives you a sense that the opposition parties are still very confident in the motion of no confidence that they've brought forward, both motions of no confidence that they've brought forward, and also the Democratic Alliance also, standing their stance, not leaving the council chambers unless they necessarily have to.
All right, so just to clarify, it looks like at this point that motion of no confidence has been indefinitely adjourned or postponed.
Yes, according to the speaker, he did say that when he walked out, he said that meeting, the special meeting, was adjourned indefinitely. However, opposition parties did come up in rebuttal to say they didn't hear him say indefinitely and that they wanted to continue with this meeting. But I'm sure as the chief whips of all the parties, and now that they've met, more clarity would come out of that. But Natasha, from our view right now, that meeting has been adjourned indefinitely.
All right, have you managed to get any reaction from the likes of Athol Trollip or even from the Patriotic Alliance?
We haven't been able to, speak to Athol Trollip right now. During the council meeting, I did, however, speak to Marlon Daniels, who said whether the meeting was cancelled or not, the special meeting, whether it did sit or not, or whether, there would be an outcome, that did not change their stance with the Democratic Alliance.
All right, Iwiwe, thanks so much. We'll leave it there for now. We'll get more from you a bit later on. Our Iwiwe Poti live for us in Port Elizabeth.